All right, let's talk about something you probably haven't thought much about: Greenland. You see, this massive remote ice sheet, well, it's about to become one of the most critical issues in all of global finance. And no, this isn't just a climate change story. We're talking about currency, supply chains, and really the future of economic power itself.
Our story kicks off with Ria, a treasury manager in Bangalore. A couple weeks ago, her normally cool-as-a-cucumber CFO walks into a meeting, slams a report on the table, and gives her this task. At first glance, it sounds like a pretty standard procurement problem. Okay, find a new supplier. How hard could that be, right?
Well, turns out it was way harder. As Ria started digging, she realized this wasn't about one supplier at all. It was like pulling a single thread on a sweater, and the entire thing, the whole global economy, was threatening to unravel. The problem wasn't in her supply chain. It was baked into the architecture of the global economy. So, to really get our heads around the massive global risk we're all facing, we have to follow the trail that Ria uncovered. We're going to see exactly how a simple request about motor parts spiraled into a massive question about the future of the US dollar. This was Ria's first uh-oh moment. Her company's products need these special neodymium magnets for their motors. And guess what? It turns out a whopping 70% of the global supply of these critical rare earth elements is controlled by China. All of a sudden, her single supplier problem became a single-country dependency crisis. Not good.
So Ria does what any good treasury manager would do. She dives into the data. She starts running models, scenarios for supply chain risk, currency hedges, geopolitical exposure, the whole 9 yards. And it was kind of weird. No matter how she crunched the numbers, every single model, every single time, kept pointing to this one massive icy solution: Greenland.
And this is exactly where the problem blows up, right? It goes from Ria's desk in Bangalore to the global stage. This is the moment her little procurement headache explodes into a full-blown geopolitical dilemma. It's a strategic trap that, honestly, Western economies are just now starting to wake up to. So it all boils down to this problem triangle. Check it out. First corner, the entire world is electrifying. I'm talking EVs, AI data centers, renewables, it all runs on rare earths. Second corner, like we saw, China has a stranglehold on 70% of that supply. And the third corner? The only viable large-scale alternative for the West is buried under the ice in Greenland. You see how each point reinforces the others? It creates this immense pressure. And this is the light bulb moment for Ria, the gut punch. This wasn't about calling a new vendor. This was about a fundamental, a seismic shift in global risk that could shake the very foundation of her company's balance sheet, all of its financial planning, its entire future. And now we get to the real heart of the matter, because this isn't just about rocks and minerals, it's about money. Specifically, it's about the stability of the world's #1 reserve currency, the US dollar. We've kind of seen this movie before. Back in 1973, the OPEC oil embargo showed the West just how vulnerable it was. The response? The petrodollar system. It basically linked the world's most critical commodity, oil, to the dollar, which guaranteed its dominance. Then, in 2010, China fired a warning shot when it restricted rare earth exports to Japan. Greenland is just the next and maybe the biggest chapter in this long story. And the stakes? They're absolutely enormous. $30 trillion. That is the size of the US debt market that completely depends on the dollar holding its status as the world's reserve currency. Now just imagine if rare earths replace oil as the key strategic commodity, and those minerals are not priced in dollars. This is the number that's at risk. Okay, so who are the players in this high-stakes contest? Let's map out the key actors who are all scrambling for influence over Greenland and its incredible resources. This is the new great game, and believe it or not, it's being played out in the Arctic. And yeah, there are a lot of competing interests here. You've got the US wanting mineral security to back up the dollar. The EU is desperate to diversify its supply chains. China, of course, wants to keep its monopoly. Denmark wants to hold on to its authority, while Greenland itself is pushing for independence. But look at that last row. That's you, your company. All you want is a steady supply and stable prices. And your leverage? It's where you decide to put your capital. So where is this all going? Look, there's no simple, easy way out of this. Instead, what we have are 3 main scenarios for Greenland's future. And if you're a financial leader, your job is to figure out which one of these headaches you're actually prepared to handle. So the first possible future is probably the most direct. Let's say Greenland, maybe through a purchase or a referendum, becomes a US territory. In one move, the US secures the mineral rights and locks down those supply chains. For a Treasury Department, this scenario is actually pretty good. It creates stability.
the dollar gets stronger, and, this is huge, new financial markets for rare earth futures would probably pop up. That means you could finally hedge your price risk reliably. And China's power to set prices would take a major hit. Okay, the second future is one where Greenland gets a lot closer to the European Union. You could see the EU offering a massive sustainability-focused development package to keep Greenland inside its sphere of influence.
Now, in this scenario, the euro would gain ground as a reserve currency, but the real challenge for you would be mandatory ESG compliance, just to be part of the supply chain. Plus, you'd see a slower supply ramp-up because of all the regulations. For Treasury, this means you'd need a dual currency strategy, managing both dollars and euros. More complex.
The third, and by far the most unpredictable future, is one where Greenland just declares full sovereignty. If that happens, it would be totally free to play the world's superpowers against each other, essentially creating a wide-open bidding war for its resources.
And this scenario, it is a treasurer's absolute nightmare. It would mean maximum volatility in both price and supply. Political risk insurance, premiums would skyrocket. With no clear currency alignment, financial planning becomes a total guessing game. And trying to hedge this kind of risk would, well, almost impossible.
Okay, so with those three scenarios in mind, let's bring this all back to you. Let's take Ria's journey of discovery and turn it into a concrete, actionable framework that you can start thinking about today. This is how you go from theory to action.
Here it is, the playbook Ria developed. Step 1, map your hidden exposures. You have to know exactly where rare earths are hiding in your supply chain. Step 2, build financial models for all three of the scenarios we just talked about. 3, start diversifying your partners now, even if they can't supply you today. 4, reassess your entire currency strategy. 5, and this is critical, you have to report this risk to your board. And finally, step 6, monitor what's happening daily. This is moving way too fast for a monthly review.
You know, when Ria presented a new $2.3 million line item for geopolitical risk mitigation to her CEO, this was her justification. And it just perfectly nails the stakes, doesn't it? This isn't some cost center, it's a direct investment in your own survival.
And really, that's what this all comes down to. The actual physical ice in Greenland is melting. And as it does, it's exposing the tectonic plates of the next global financial order. Ria saw it coming, now you see it too. So the only real question left is the one right there on your screen. Is your balance sheet ready?